Hi, in today's video I'm going to show you how to use any copyright royalty-free image on the internet and very quickly and easily inside Canvas Workspace create page after page of free images to print and then cut on your ScanNCut DX with no aligning or placing any cut files over your images. We're going to get perfect results time after time, so let's get started. Hi, today I want to show you how to use the fabulous, and I mean fabulous, new Print to Cut premium function. Now in the UK this is only available through Makers Superstore. So I want to show you what the card looks like. This is the card, and inside you'll have an activation code that we're going to put into Canvas Workspace to activate the Print to Cut premium function. While I've been working with the Print to Cut premium function, I found that it's really useful to also have enhanced image tracing. Now this is available from several places including Makers Superstore. The price does vary wildly depending on where you buy it from, so have a look around for the best price. Now the Print to Cut function is only available through the downloadable computer-based version of Canvas Workspace for PC. It doesn't work in the browser version at the moment. So I have the downloadable PC version of Canvas Workspace open. I'm going to go to Help, Account Settings, Premium Function Activation, and you just type in your code from your card here and click Activate. If you've also brought the enhanced image tracing function, you'll do the same thing. Under Premium Function Activation, type in your code and click Activate. When you scroll down, you'll see that your new features have been activated. So let's show you how the Print to Cut function works. So let's find an image to print and then cut. I'm on a website called Pixabay. This is an excellent site. It has copyright, royalty-free images that you can safely use without fear of getting into any copyright trouble. You can also use one of your own images or photos, and I'll be showing you how to do that later on. So for now I'm going to look for a flower. And I'm also going to type in that I need a transparent background because the Print to Cut function works best when you have a solid outline on something that has a transparent background. As you can see, I have lots and lots of different images here that I can use. So let's download a few of them. I like this rose, so I'm going to left click on it, and you'll notice under the Pixabay license this image is free for commercial use, no attribution required. So that's just what we want. So I'm going to hit free download. I'm going to leave the size of the PNG as it is and hit download, and that's going to save that into my downloads folder. So let's go back and choose some other images. I also like this flower here. So again, I'm going to go to free download and download. This is another nice one, so I'm going to download this one as well. And lastly, I'm going to choose this hydrangea image. Okay, so I have some images to work with now. Okay, so let's create our page of printed images. First thing we need to do is select the size of our printer paper. I'm using an A4 printer, so I'm going to go to the right hand side of Canvas Workspace, and the bottom icon is Artboard. So selecting that, you'll see Artboard size comes up along with some other options. So I'm going to change my artboard size to A4. So this is my new cut area. It's also really important that you tick show registration mark, as this is how your ScanNCut is going to recognize where your cut files are. Okay, so now we're going to bring in the images that we want to print and then cut. To do that, we're going to go to this icon here on the left hand side of the screen, and it looks like a club with a little circle, and this is image tracing. So select image tracing and image in your computer, and here are the downloads that I've downloaded earlier. So I'm going to select my rows and click open. You'll see that the image tracing function has now come up on the screen, and the software has quickly and easily created a cut file around the outside edge of the rows. Now it's really important to paste the image onto the drawing area, because we're going to export our page as a PDF to print later on. But for now, just click OK. And as you can see, the rows is coming very large, so there's two ways of resizing this. You can either click on the rows, hover over one of the corners and hold your left mouse key down and drag to resize. Or on the right hand side, the second icon down is edit. So I'm going to change this to maybe 2.5 inches in width. So if I show you now the layers panel, and again this is on the right hand side of Canvas Workspace, and it looks like a stack of papers. It's the second one from bottom. You'll see that we have our image and our cut file in a group. So with my flowers selected, I can now go up to layer, and I can duplicate this as many times as I like. So I'm duplicating both the image and the cut file. I haven't got any need to open a graphics program or do any messing about. The Canvas Workspace software is doing all the hard work for me, so I don't have to. And I'm just arranging those so I make the best use of my A4 paper. So if I duplicate the rows again, I can now make this bigger if I want to. So as you can see, again, the software is making both the rows and the cut file bigger. So if I go back to the edit menu, I'm going to resize this to 3.75 inches wide, hit return, and I'm going to create another one of those by duplicating it. So I don't have to just do the roses. I can also bring in another image. So let's repeat the process with another image. Go to your image tracing, an image in your computer, And what shall we choose? Let's choose this hydrangea. Okay, so I have my hydrangea and it's in image tracing, and as you can see, the software again has traced all around the outside of the hydrangea. So I'm going to say okay, and again I'm making sure I have paste the image in the drawing area ticked. I'm going to select my hydrangea and maybe make that 3.5 inches in width. So now I want to show you something that's absolutely fabulous and that I really love. I'm going to make sure my hydrangea is selected. Now I want to mirror image this so my leaves are on the left hand side. Normally I would have to mirror image or flip my cut file, and then in a graphics program mirror image or flip the hydrangea. But the new print to cut version is absolutely fantastic because it enables me just to go up to the edit menu and easily mirror image this hydrangea. And as you can see, that's done that without any problem. So both my cut file and my image file are now mirror imaged. So maybe we'll duplicate that one again. And move that down. So I'm just making sure that I'm making the best use of my A4 page. And there you go, we have a whole A4 page of images to print. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to cut out an image that has landlocked areas. So I'm going to import an image that I've chosen. And as you can see, where the elephant's legs are, we have some landlocked areas. This is where the enhanced tracing function becomes really useful. And if you want to trace images that have landlocked areas, I highly recommend the enhanced image tracing function. So I'm going to go over to the flower icon, scroll down and select enhanced image tracing. I'm going to deselect trace the outer edge only. And if I zoom in, you'll see that the landlocked areas will now cut out. So I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to resize both the image and the cut together as I showed you earlier. So it's really simple, easy to do. I'm going to go to my edit menu just to check the size, and I think I am going to make that 6 inches in width. And just to fill up my printed page, I'm going to go to the layer menu and duplicate a few times. Okay, so I've downloaded this cute little Christmas gnome. And I'm in Canvas Workspace, and I'm going to trace it and make a printed page of images to cut. So again, I'm going to go to choose an image file to be traced. And there's the image. as you can see, the software has mainly done a good job of tracing around the outline. However, it hasn't traced this pom-pom properly. So I'm going to try increasing the number of colours. And as you can see, it's gradually tracing more of the pom-pom. And that seems to have worked properly now, so I'm going to say OK. I'm going to click the gnome to select it, go to the right hand side and edit menu, and I'm going to make this about 4 inches tall. So once again, go to the layers panel and you'll see the image and the cut file, and I can duplicate this, so I'm going to do that several times. So I'm going to duplicate one more time. I'm going to go to edit and I'm going to mirror image my gnome and duplicate that again a few more times. Now if I hold down my shift key and hover over this circle here, I can rotate my image, and I just want to make sure I'm making the best possible use of my paper. So there's lots of other ways you can use your print to cut function. Maybe you could use it to cut out your printable card toppers, your printable car kits. Anything like that would work really well with the print to cut function. I want to show you how you can also print and cut photos. So instead of going to the image tracing icon this time, I'm going to simply import my images directly onto the mat. To do that, I'm going to go to File, Import from your computer, and I'm going to select my photo and say Open. So I want to resize my photo and make this a bit bigger. So I'm going to make this maybe 3.75 inches in height. So now I want to cut my photo out, and as you can see, the photo is roughly in a square shape. So what I'm going to do is bring on a square from my basic shapes, and I'm going to resize my square to match the size of my photo. So I have my square selected. So I'm going to turn maintain aspect ratio off for a moment. And my height of my photo was 3.75 inches high. And my width was 3.74 inches. And I'm going to reselect maintain aspect ratio. So now my square matches the size of my photograph. So now I want to align my cut file and my photograph together. So I'm going to hold down my control key and press my letter A to select everything. I'm going to go to my edit menu, align. I align them both in the center and in the middle. Go up to the layer menu and group them both together. So now I can move these or resize them as one object. So let's bring in another photo. So again, we're going to go to File this time, import from our computer, select another photograph, say open, and I think I will make this one maybe 4.25 inches high. And as you can see, I can make my photos any size I like. If I wanted to make it to cover the whole page, for example, I could make this 8 inches if I wanted to make that bigger. So it's an easy way to resize your photos. So I'm just going to change this back to 4.25 inches. And I'm going to again go to my basic shapes and bring on a square. I'm going to select my photo and check the size. So as you can see, it's 4.25 inches high by 4 inches in width. So I'm going to again select my square and resize this to match. So I will need to turn off aspect ratio, change my height to 4.25 inches and my width to 4 inches. And so I don't forget to switch it back on, I'm going to reselect maintain aspect ratio. So I'm going to click and drag to select both my photo and my square. And again, I'm going to align these in the center and in the middle, go up to layer and group. Okay, so there's just two more things we need to do. The first thing we need to do is export the cut file to our ScanNCut. So we're going to go up to File, Export Transfer FCM File, and you'll see this warning message just saying the image data will not be exported or transferred with the cut data. And all that means is that your flower images will not be sent to the ScanNCut, as the ScanNCut can't read them anyway. But that's fine. So we're going to say OK and transfer the file via the internet. You can also save them onto a USB or onto your computer if you prefer. Now we need to print our image, so we're going to turn our page in Canvas workspace into a PDF file. Go up to File, Export PDF File, and you see we have two options. The first option is to export a PDF file with the images only. So that will just be the pictures of the flowers without the black cut lines around them. So let's do that first of all. So I'm going to find the folder where I want to store my images and give it a name and click Save. So before we go to the ScanNCut, I'm going to show you how to print the images out. So I'm in the folder on my computer where the images are stored. I'm going to double click on Charisma page 1. I'm going to go to Print and choose the printer that I'm going to use and how many copies I want. So maybe I'm going to have 2 or 3 copies of this. I'm going to choose 2 for now. I'm going to go to More Settings. My paper is A4 and I want to make sure that I'm printing at 100% size of the original image, and I'm just going to click print. Okay, so I've printed my pages out on Navigator colour document paper. It's 120 GSM. I buy this from the store Wilko in the UK. It's £4 for 250 sheets, so it's excellent value for money. You can also use matte photo paper. You can buy double-sided matte photo paper as well, and that comes in a variety of GSMs. Okay, so I'm going to attach my printed sheet to my mat. Now, it doesn't matter whereabouts on your mat that you put your sheet. You don't have to line it up with a corner, for example. You can put it anywhere on the mat, but the key thing to remember is make sure that these lines here on your registration marks run parallel with the top and the bottom of your mat. So the ScanNCut is going to read these registration marks on the mat and then automatically align up the cut file to your printed image. How magic is that? So I'm at the machine. I'm going to retrieve my cut file, and I've saved my cut file onto a USB. So I'm going to go to Retrieve Data, USB, and I'm going to find the folder where I save my cut files. And say OK. And the machine will display a message. Please attach your material printed with registration marks on the mat. Make sure the lines of the registration marks are facing the machine when filling the mat. So basically it's just telling you which way up your registration marks need to go in when you feed it into the mat. So the machine helps you at every step. So I'm going to say OK. So now I can select cut. So before I press start, I want to explain to you what the machine's going to do. It's going to quickly scan in the paper, work out where the registration marks are, and place the cut files over the pattern without me having to do a thing. So I'm going to say start. And you'll see that the machine says scanning and positioning, so it's going to position my cut files over my printed images. And now it will automatically cut. So I'm going to say OK and unload the mat. So there we go. As you can see, the machine has perfectly cut out my gnome. So the gnomes I've cut out here, these come from Pixabay. These are all copyright royalty free images, so these are safe to use and it didn't cost me a penny. So I want to now cut out this other free image which I found on Pixabay, so I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to retrieve my cut file from my USB, or you can send your cut file wirelessly over Canvas Workspace. And while I'm here, you'll notice that each cut file that you save as a print and cut file will have this registration mark next to it, so you know what it is. So along with cutting automatically, you can also preview where your file will cut. So to do this, you're going to hit this registration mark icon here, and you'll see this message: scan 4 corners of the registration mark and align the cutting data and the printed object. All the machine's telling you is that it's going to scan the registration marks so that you can manually check that your cut file and your printed image are aligned. So we're just going to click start. So the machine has scanned in the mat and placed the cut file over the image. So I can hit the magnifying icon and I can scroll down, and if I see 100%, I just want to show you how good a job of placing the cut file over the printed image. So I haven't had to line up anything, I haven't had to line up any rectangles, I haven't had to manually drag my cut file over the printed image. The machine has done all the hard work itself with the print to cut function. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and visit my blog ScanNCutUK.com for more scan and cut hints and tips.